Hey YouTube, it's me, Jen, your Pudgy Picker.
And Kim.
And we are here for another podcast, Two Sisters,
One Booth.
And this is podcast number
50.
Okay, now for the sad part. This is our last one, after you got all excited there.
Well, I just was thinking about that old Muppets one where the guy kept going, and they finally looked at him. So.
Yeah, we're showing our age.
I know. Go ahead.
So, this is our last podcast.
I know. Our last one.
But that's okay.
It is?
Yeah,
Why?
because we're going to have a brand new show.
No.
And guess what it's called?
I don't know. Please tell me. I'm dying to know.
Oh, you have to wait till the end of this podcast. You know, it's like all those shows. It's like, well, let's do the lie detector test after this. So, yeah, you got to stick around.
And then you see the lie detector, and then they say, and the result is commercial break.
Yep. So we're going to make you wait.
Yeah.
Because that's the kind of people we are.
Fun.
So, last week we talked about things that we have learned in our 10 years of doing an antique booth. So, we're going to talk about a few different things, but what we've learned or what we've thought about things over the last year of doing the podcast. So have you gotten any smarter over the last year?
You know, today's not the day to ask me that. No, no.
So episode 1, when was episode 1? When did we publish it?
April 17th? 19th. Well,
so it's been over a year.
Yep.
Because we've missed a few weeks, because we're human and we don't get paid for this.
And I got sick, got laryngitis, and
yeah, so, you know, if I got a big fat paycheck and I got a whole bunch of people doing all my videos,
I would be whispering very closely to the speaker so no one could complain with my laryngitis.
Yeah, so, you know, stuff happens. If we had a big crew and all that, then, you know, hey.
An entourage.
They'll figure it out. So, I guess part of the thing I was thinking about when we talk about it before we get going is I knew that there was different antique malls that had different rules or different things that they did.
Yeah.
I guess I've learned over the last year how much things really are different as far as the cost.
Yep.
As far as not only having a booth or a showcase, but actually having a shelf.
Oh,
that was something that never occurred to me.
Something that small to rent, yep.
Yeah, so I think that also knowing the difference between some places being a co-op, which doesn't seem to be the norm.
No.
To you pay a certain amount of rent and you don't have to work.
Yeah, you drop it off and they put it out for you and everything in some of them.
Yeah, or that certain places you can work to get a discount on your rent, but that's not the norm. Not everybody does that.
No.
So that's kind of cool. So I guess knowing how many different places do things differently, that would make a big difference because we're able to work the time and it makes our rent cheaper.
Yeah.
As opposed to a place where you couldn't work and it's like, this is the rent, that's it, case closed. I'm sure that might stop a lot of people from actually having a booth because they're like, that's a lot of money, and I don't know if I can afford that right up front.
Yep.
So
you're paying either in your money or time.
Pretty much. So, you know, thinking about that and thinking about people having a shelf, I mean, I guess that's really interesting, you know. I could see that being kind of difficult, though. Like, if you had, 5 shelves or 4 shelves, you know how people pick up and move stuff in our booth.
Oh, yeah.
There'd be people picking up one thing off a shelf and putting it on another, and I don't know. But it's neat to have so many choices. And with our mall that we are able to have them take 10%, and then this is what we pay in rent, or they don't have to take anything, but then we pay a higher rent.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice to have more options so that you can pick something that's going to fit into your schedule and your budget and your life, pretty much.
Yeah.
So I guess I never really thought about that too much.
Yeah.
A lot of people who want to do it don't even have anything anywhere near them that does this. And then other people have 2 or 3 around them. We have 2.
Yeah.
And
well, before we found the other place, the only other thing, once in a while for a couple of years, a spot would show up that sold stuff, but they usually didn't stay for more than a year or two and would disappear. We had, not too far from where we are right now, there was a garage sale store.
Oh,
that was just
place.
Oh, it was bad.
That was horrendous.
Bad.
It was like if you had a fire at a garage sale.
Oh my!
Or an earthquake.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in there. But yeah, so over time, we never really had any of that stuff here, and it took us like 5 years before we even realized the other place was there.
Well, there was another place for a few years, not too far from where I used to live, right on the lake. And it was like a little storefront, and they had really small spaces. I don't know if you remember that for a while. It was by the grocery store, by Giant Eagle, on the lake.
Okay, no, I don't remember
tell you
that
later.
one.
But
I'm not remembering it. I guess that's why I'm drawing a blank here.
It was quite small, and it had little, like smaller booths. And it was run by one lady. I don't know.
I don't know anything about that.
Oh.
Okay, anyway, go on.
But anyway, I mean, but that was something I don't think we ever would have considered, because that's too small scale anyway. I think a lot of the items too were handcrafted and doll clothes and things people made.
That one that used to be got tore down. There's a Taco Bell there now. There was the same kind of a thing. It was a house turned into a business, and for a while, I made stuff and took it up there, and she sold, where she tried to sell. She had it there for sale, some of the handmade items that I was making, but at that time, I wasn't crafting or anything anywhere near what I've been doing, so.
Yeah, it's, and if a place has certain restrictions, or if the particular places we're thinking of are small enough where they kind of want to keep the store cohesive and have it basically, certain era, certain make of things, or, handmade or whatever. I mean, even the place we were at before kind of touted itself as an antique mall, but also where it had crafts, but not a lot of people there were making things.
No.
So, I don't know. It's nice to see things like Etsy and other things that are coming back, that you see that what's the word I'm looking for? Craftsmanship. And it isn't just, like styrofoam balls colored and stuck together, you know? Yeah. I mean, it has a real, like these places could be in a mall or something, because the scale of how well their things are made are just crazy. Jewelry and everything else. So that's kind of cool. But I like the idea that we have a choice of places now. And I know some people came from quite far away to be there. Like we had one lady that was in Pittsburgh, which is like 2.5 hours away.
New York.
Yeah. So I'm like, wow. And you think certain places, I don't know, certain places you probably would have more of those. New York State would probably have a lot of them. But if you're in a more, uppity area, then you're going to be paying a lot. So maybe it was worth it to them to drive that far to get the rent that they were doing. So I don't know. I can't imagine driving that far.
I can't either.
I mean, you have to figure that in to your budget and what you're doing. I mean, otherwise that would just be craziness to not figure that in. So, so I mean, we've learned a lot about what people are doing and what they think, and their experiences, the different rules at their mall. Like I've said, some places are very strict on what you're allowed to have. I know there is a place that's, not too far from our antique mall that's in the historic downtown, and they are extremely narrow on what they allow to be sold. But if that's where you find stuff, I mean, you're going to make good money, but it is very expensive to be there. So, yeah. So what else can you think of that we've gleaned or figured out, or... I'll put you on the spot.
I'm honestly, I'm having one of those days where my brain just isn't focusing really good. And we're sitting in a spot right now where there is so much activity going on that I keep getting distracted. But I'm watching all this this yogurt going by. Anyway, and the little kid dancing, and that's cute. No.
You're easily distracted.
I am. I'm having one of those days. It's like, la, 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 la. Anyway, things that I've learned. I've learned that some of the craziest stuff you think is never going to sell is flies off the shelf, and the stuff that you don't think you're going to be able to get, opposite. It's going to be sitting there forever. So I've always learned, just trust your gut, and you're going to make mistakes, but that's part of the game, because the game is always changing right in the middle of the game.
Yeah, I know if anybody ever watches Scavenger Life here on YouTube.
Oh, I love you guys.
I think it's hilarious. The one thing he says is about how eBay makes changes and things that they have to do, and he said it's like trying to change, the engine on an airplane as it's flying.
Yeah.
That you're always making adjustments as you're involved in it, and that's very true of our business as well. That you have to be constantly changing. It's not like you figure everything out and then once it starts you're on this straight path, because that's totally not how life is, let alone any kind of business.
And that's the thing too, is when we first started, and I had been selling some on eBay and that prior to that, and on eBay they're like, well, this time of year is really good selling and this time of the year is kind of slow, but you don't realize until you're in the retail segment of it that they also have their ebb and flow, that they have their strong sales times and they're not. So, at first you're like, man, I'm not selling anything. Is the price wrong? Do I have it in the wrong? You're trying to figure it out, when in all actuality, sometimes it's just that time of year, that season, that whatever.
I'm starting to think that, because I've taken, a lot of things, projects and things I've been working on, and it's very slow selling, but it's everything in the booth, and the whole mall is slower because it's this time of year.
And we've had, and two, you have to take into consideration other, factors, like we've had a really, really long, hard winter.
Yes.
And very cold last month. We were setting records for the cold and the snow lasting so long. So, of course, around here, you get a day that's, even 50 in the sunshine, and nobody wants to be indoors on the computer buying or in a store. They want to be outside, enjoying the weather, taking a walk, taking a jog, because we have been cooped up so long. So I'm sure, it'll change a little bit too, as the season goes. But as summer comes on, it's just something you have to accept, because you've got then kids are out of school, people are going on vacation, you got sports things going on for the kids to participate in. There's other activities where people aren't going to be shopping as much. So learning how to deal with those and not, think that your whole world is collapsing. It's everybody's facing the same problem.
Well, and I think what kind of goes hand in hand with that is not only are we always paying attention and always willing to shift gears, you have to realize when it's time to shift gears.
Yes.
And if, things start slowing down for, the summer slump, as I call it, and you have that and you start panicking and changing all kinds of things around, then that's probably not the best strategy.
No, it's not.
So, to think of it that way, that, you know when to change things up, and then there's other times you have to just be patient. Yeah. And knowing the difference between the two can be a challenge if you're new to this.
Yeah, and the thing that you learn over time too is, though in one avenue it's slowed down, like your sales are slowing down in eBay, or your sales are slowing down at our booth.
Yeah.
So what do? You sit around and grope and complain, and oh, it's so bad, I ain't selling nothing, I'm not going to make rent, all those people you hear talking that stuff. It's where you got to turn it around and look at it as a positive. Okay, so now is a slow time. There's a lot of other things that I have needed to do, or is an opportune time right now, where normally I wouldn't have the time because I'm so busy with this when it's up and running. Mm-hmm. So what can you do to turn your focus around to something else that's still going to bring you money, or bring you money at another
sourcing.
Time? Exactly.
Summer is a big sourcing time for us. Mm-hmm. because when people aren't shopping, they're trying to peddle their own junk. So that's when you should be out buying it. And then if you get enough to last you into the winter,
there you go.
Then by all means, that's a good thing. So
when you average it out, then over the year, it looks much better than it does if you're just, looking at those few months of super duper sales for the holidays or whatever.
Yeah. So, pacing yourself. And like you said, turning your focus on sourcing, or, if the weather's nice, get out there and spray paint a few things you've been meaning to spray paint and that kind of stuff. So, I mean...
Where do you store your stuff? Do you have a shed? Do you have a garage? Take this time when it's slower. Get out there, reorganize, regroup, look through your stuff.
Yeah.
And you were just saying, you were looking at your stuff going, I don't even know why I bought this. There's no reason. I'm not taking this out
What
to the
was
booth
I
now.
thinking?
Yeah. So this is the time. You have the time now. What do you need to do? Do you need to put up some more shelves? Do you need to rearrange? Do you need to reorganize? Do you need to remark boxes? Do you
need to pull the trigger and get rid of it? Either have your own garage sale or put it back into the stream of stuff and redonate.
That's exactly it, because that's another revenue generating thing, garage sellers. So there's other things you can turn your attention to that is still going to benefit you, even if it's not right this minute. Eventually, it'll come back to you.
Yeah, there's always, time to do this kind of stuff. And we live in an area where garage sale season truly is a season.
Short.
And it's not like, other places where it's... The summer months are even not garage sale season because people live in a place that's warm.
Yeah.
And it's really hot, and nobody wants to sit out on their driveway when it's 105 in the heat.
That's true.
So, know your area, know what's good for that.
Yeah.
But certainly, I know
nobody's going to come shop us when we have 3 feet of snow in our driveway either.
Yeah. And when you can't get out and find stuff, if you found it during the summer, then you can, like me, I just supplement with, the thrift store and maybe auctions when it's not garage sale season. Knowing that and planning for that, that makes a big difference. And, doing this as long as we have, we've been through slow seasons and we know how it is.
Yeah.
And, it's like you said, just the time to, get other things done.
Yeah.
So, I went through a lot of things in my basement, and I still have a certain amount of stuff to go through, but you can walk unobstructed.
Oh.
Hey, that's progress.
Yes.
Yeah,
definitely.
It was quite scary.
I know the weather's getting nice enough now. It's like, and things are changing in my life right now, which is a whole nother story. But in a way, it's kind of good because now it's really putting the pressure on me to finally, I've got to focus and get done doing some stuff myself.
Yeah, because a lot of times you're like, I really need to get to A, B, and C. And then when something else happens, you're like, I have to get this done by this certain amount of time because other things are waiting for it.
And with the weather warming up a little bit now, I'm going to be able to I'm just going to dump my whole garage out in the driveway. And then work backwards.
Yeah.
Then I'll pick out what I want to put back in there, and the rest is just going to get carried out front to the garbage.
You know what? Because we were just talking to another vendor today when we were at our mall, who does trash picking for a lot of her sourcing.
Yeah.
And she trash picks in my area because I'm sure I told you the story about I put something out and I knew someone would either scrap it or take it and use it, and it showed up in their booth, which is right next to ours.
Right.
And I'm like, this is an item that it's not like, oh, you've seen 100 of them. No, I knew. And then I asked, and sure enough, so she said to me today, she's like, you haven't been throwing anything good out. Nobody in your neighborhood does.
Yep.
And I go, I know, because I drive around when I leave Monday morning. I do a quick little, look-see.
Hey, there is no shame in my game.
Nope, absolutely not.
I can remember the first time being with someone. I was a very young woman at the time, and they wanted to stop to get something out of the trash. Told me and someone else to get out and get it, and I was like,
mortified.
What? You want me to do what? In my neighborhood, it's a block away from where I live. People I go to school with, you want me to what?
Yeah.
But now it's like, get out of my way. I pull right up in your driveway, baby, and open my door.
Yeah, and if you peek out the window, I'll wave at you.
Thank you. appreciate it.
You know, it's funny because I know my kids used to do that when I first started. If I saw something, and I'm driving and I'd lean forward and I'm slowing down, and they're like, "Oh no,
yep.
don't."
My kids do too.
I could never get them to get out and get it. I had to get it myself. That was bad enough. They would slump in the seat and go, "Oh, I can't believe this." It's like, oh please, there's worse things I could be doing to embarrass you.
Some of that stuff ended up in my house.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, I had somebody was remodeling their kitchen, and they put out a cabinet that was one that was like a standalone, where it must have been like maybe between a couple of appliances or anything. It was exactly what I needed.
Yep.
And it's in my kitchen with my microwave on it.
There you go.
That's right. Thank you very much.
I'll take that.
I'll take that.
So yeah, I mean, and it's funny because I remember telling this other vendor, I said, you know, in my neighborhood, a lot of people scrap and trash pick. And I said, there's times I've had stuff that's been a little heavy, or I didn't want to lug it to the thrift store. But I knew if I put it out a day in advance, it would be gone. Either that night, it would usually be gone that night.
Yep. Sometimes I will purposely put it out early on the trash night, because I know I would rather someone take it.
Yeah.
Than for it to literally end up in the trash. But you know, people are driving around looking at stuff.
Yep. So I know, I told her, I said, if I know I'm going to put something out, I know somebody's going to end up taking it. And I'm glad.
Yeah.
Because if it was something worth somebody having, I would make sure I donate it. But it's nice to have, you know, like a table or something larger that I can't really pedal.
That's
and just
what I
put
was
it out.
just
and somebody will take it.
Yeah, something easier than loading it up, or something that, you know, most people aren't going to really want, but there's somebody else like you or me that are like, oh, I can take that home and I can paint it, or I can take the lid off it, or I can...
Yeah, and I replaced our kitchen table set. I ended up keeping the chairs because our chairs were kind of beat up, and the table I got I wasn't too crazy about. So I had a table and chair. I had the new table and then the old chairs, and I put it out there and put a free sign on it, and literally within a few minutes they were loading it up. And my son said, "Oh, I'll go out and see if I can help him put it in there."
Yeah.
And I thought, well, what I bought was better than what I had, and what he picked up is probably better than what he has. So it's you know, this big long chain. So yeah, so I, you know, that's
source where you can source, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, if you see something on the side of the road and it's free, if I clean it up and put it in the mall, then somebody will pay money for it.
That's right, total profit on that one.
So yeah, so I guess in wrapping up our series, that I think we've really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had a good time. We spend lots of time every Wednesday together anyway.
Yeah.
Because we go out and put stuff in the booth and straighten it up, and then we usually eat together, and then we would do the podcast. We'd sit and yap. We sit and yap for an hour and a half before we even turn the microphone on.
At least.
Yeah. So, I mean,
people always say when we get to... Yeah, it's like you guys never see each other.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we enjoy our time together, and being able to talk about the business is really nice, because a lot of times when you talk about reselling, people's eyes just glaze.
I know. Well, first of all, they can't believe that you're taking, you know, stuff that they consider garbage or used or Goodwill stuff and actually turning it around and making a profit off it.
Yeah, decent profit too.
Yeah, and then second of all, they don't understand and they don't care.
Yeah, you talk to them, and you know, even when you talk about something or a latest find or something, you're getting excited, and they're just looking at you like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
So when you could talk to somebody in the business, you know, when we talk to you, just, oh, guess what I found? Really? How much? Wow, that's good. So.
Or you pull it out of the bag. Look what I got. Isn't this and it was only $2. Really?
Yeah, that's the fun part of it.
My goose today. That goose was awesome.
Didn't we just talk about blue geese last week?
Oh, was it blue? Oh, yeah. But this is a different blue goose.
This is different.
This isn't the white goose with the blue bonnet on. This is a nice goose.
So, I guess we're about done. But we do want to talk about the new show.
After this commercial. No.
So, yeah. We are going to have a new show.
Y'all asked.
Yep.
Now, don't complain when you get it.
Yep. So, what is it called, Kimberly?
What is it called? It is called
Yes.
Nifty Thrifty Sisters.
Yay! So it is not going to be a separate channel. It will be here on this channel.
Yep.
But it will be titled as such, Nifty Thrifty Sisters.
Yep.
And it will be a once a month show.
Yep.
And it will be the second Wednesday of each month.
Second Wednesday of each month. Make that, put that in your calendar, have it reoccurring on your Google apps.
Absolutely. So
spread the word.
That is when the show will be. It will be once a month. The first show will be in July.
Yes.
And I do not have a calendar in front of me, but that's okay. So the second Wednesday of July will be the first episode. It'll be kind of an introduction and giving you an idea what we're doing.
Yeah.
And so some of the things that we're going to be doing on this show, and you've been used to hearing a lot of people who listen to this are because they are antique booth owners. We are going to talk about more than just the antique booth.
Well, we're going to cover it all, baby.
Yes. So you're going to get from us hauls that will be exclusive of what you normally see on my channel, things that I will only show on this show.
Ooh.
Yes, I know, an insider look.
Ooh.
You will occasionally go thrifting with us.
Yippee!
So that'll be fun. We will also have how-tos. This could include things that we've talked about for the antique booth, staging.
Yes.
Cleaning certain items. Maybe a before and after. Here's what we got. Here's what we did. Here's what it looks like now.
Yep.
That kind of thing. We will also do sit-down talks like we do now.
Yep.
Where
we're just yapping along.
Yeah, you'll actually be able to see us and be able to just have us sit and talk, and you're just going to be part of the conversation. Like you are now, we'll pick a subject, we'll pick a topic, or if something comes up and I'm like, hey, we need to talk about this, so we'll do that occasionally. We will also do live shows.
Live.
So we will do live Q&As, which will be really cool. We will also do tips and tricks. So if we have anything that we think is especially interesting or something we do to make this reselling job easier or more organized, whatever we want to do to help you, we will be doing that. We'll still be talking about antique booth info, but it'll be neat to be able to show staging ideas, or maybe if we redo our shelf in the front, we'll have, before, during, and after, we'll show us restaging that. So we will still be doing some antique booth stuff. Occasionally we might even talk about eBay, what we're selling, what we've put up, how we research items, things like that. I'm sure we will actually throw in a few funny skits. We were just talking about that.
I've been dying to do this. Yes.
So we will also have booth do and don'ts.
Uh-oh.
All names will be changed to protect the innocents.
Are you going to tattle on me or what?
Don't
do that.
So the show will be about an hour long. It's not going to be exact, but it will be an hour long. And it will be a conglomeration of all these different little clips. And, each show will not necessarily be themed. It may happen accidentally occasionally.
Yeah, I'm sure it will.
But I mean, it's going to be just a variety show, a cornucopia of information.
She's getting smart on me.
Getting fancy. So we're going to talk all things reselling. And as you've kind of gotten to know our personality, if you are one that does watch or listen to our podcasts, you will be able to see more of our zany personalities.
Like I said, you watch what you ask for. You just might get it.
So you get to see our fun and goofy sides, which I'm sure you've gotten used to if you are listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
But it's the podcasts have been so specialized that it does not have as many views as a lot of my other videos. But I think with us opening up and making it a sister experience and a thrifting experience.
You get a little bit of all the good worlds.
I think that it will definitely attract more people, so that will be fun as well. So we hope that you are going to tune into that and enjoy it. My son, Connor, my editor, will be doing more editing. We're not necessarily going to make it clean and polished and like perfect like for TV.
No, because I'm not that way and I don't want to put off to be that way.
No. Besides, it would get whittled down to a lot less than an hour.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So yeah, I think we're looking forward to doing it. We're looking forward for you guys seeing it and giving us some feedback.
Yep.
And always, if you have any suggestions or ideas or things you want us to cover or things you would like to see, please leave a comment down below in the in the comments. Give us any ideas that you might have, because we're always open to suggestions.
Oh yeah.
So the new show, Nifty Thrifty Sisters, will be the second Wednesday of July, will be the first episode. And I think we're just going to put the title of what we're calling the show, and we're just going to number the episodes and just go from there.
Yep.
I don't think, like I said, it's going to be a lot of clips of this, that, and the other, so it's not necessarily going to be themed.
Yeah.
It's not going to be scripted in any way. It's not going to be,
we might even surprise ourselves along the way.
I'm sure we will. But I think everyone will enjoy it. We'll enjoy making it. And up till now, we've enjoyed doing videos and doing the podcasts. And I think that really does come across to people, that they see that we're having a good time.
I think we have just a good time entertaining each other.
Yeah, pretty much.
And we're just happy that the rest of you are along for the ride and enjoying it too.
Well, we were just talking about when we listened to the podcast after it's put up, that I confessed it and she said, yeah, I do that too. Is one of us will say something funny and then I'll be watching and I'll start laughing. She goes, I do that too.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're just so adorable and hilarious.
We just entertain ourselves.
Yes, so hopefully we won't just be entertaining ourselves. We'll be entertaining other people as well.
Yeah.
So we hope you enjoyed our last podcast. Please give this video a thumbs up. You can leave a comment down below, like we said, any ideas coming up for the future show. We'd appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments, you could also email jen@pudgypicker.com. You can follow me on Twitter under The Pudgy Picker, as well as Instagram. And you can also follow me on Pinterest under Pudgy Picker. So we will not see you next week.
Oh.
But I think it will be
new and improved.
Yes, it will be much better.
Yes.
So I think we will have a good time, and you will too.
Yep.
So until the second Wednesday of July.
Yes, ma'am.
We will say goodbye for now.
Okay.
So bye.